And then Ruthanne, let me know when you're ready.
That looks like it's been shared to my timeline.
Awesome, beautiful. Okay. So I just wanted to first start off by welcoming Ruthanne Wood to this live stream. She's someone that I met over 10 years ago. I can't even remember how long it's been, but I'm pretty confident it's over 10 years ago. And in the time we've known each other, I've been able to observe her blossoming and receiving more and more in her life. And she has this really cool, unique way of helping people manifest their dreams called scripting for success. And I've seen her apply it to her own life and allow all these beautiful experiences and things come into her life. And so I wanted to bring her on today's live stream about generous receiving, because I'm sure she has her unique point of view and some nuggets and words of wisdom that she can share with us. So this is Codes of Creation number 14. Part of the creation process is receiving. So Ruthanne, why don't you just give us a little bit of your perspective on what it means to be a generous receiver?
I think that changes all the time. I think this morning I woke up and I was receiving less than positive emotions. And I've been feeling on a really good high lately, just coming back from China. And then I watched a political video yesterday, or a movie, and I felt all this negativity coming up for me. And I thought, you know what, this is just as valid as feeling those synchronicities, those unexpected gifts, those all-inspiring conversations that I feel so blessed to have in my life on a regular basis. And so receiving comes in the form of ideas, it comes in the form of people, it comes in the form of creative partnerships, it comes in new insights about ourselves. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, well, I love that you brought up about, all of the emotions and experiences. Receiving isn't just about receiving the good stuff. It's also about allowing ourselves to receive more information about ourselves that maybe we don't like. And that's part of it.
And that could be just the way we respond to other people in the world that are very different from us. And that we might be judgmental that they're not open enough or receiving enough. And sometimes I find that to be where I go, wow, if you just stop complaining about things, and then I hear myself complaining about them complaining. So it's an interesting cycle of awareness around the giving and receiving. It's not always the faucet is on full blast. Sometimes there's a trickle, sometimes there's a good smell coming from the faucet, sometimes there isn't.
I love that. And, to be honest, when I was thinking about this live stream and preparing myself for it, when I was thinking about generous receiving, I was thinking about allowing yourself to receive all the good stuff. I was thinking about allowing yourself to receive the prosperity, the abundance, the beauty, the love, all the stuff that we all want. And I'm very much, those who have been with me for a while know that I'm very much engaged with confronting the shadow and integrating that. So I'm not afraid of looking at that. But in terms of receiving, my mind was not oriented towards receiving my shadow. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. That's brilliant.
And as a teacher, I'm sure, and I've experienced a lot of this as I've had such amazing adventures in the last year, that I've attracted a lot of people that don't know what the heck I'm talking about, that they have struggled to receive all their life. And they're not getting what they need from my inspiring stories, and have unsubscribed the more joy and more abundance I share with them. And so it's very interesting to see that you might be sharing your best stuff with people, and if they are not even feeling good about simple things, they might not be ready for the higher angel attunement or
and this is really why I wanted to do this video, was because you know, we're at this critical juncture right now on the planet where those serving the light really need to learn how to receive and receive abundantly and generously, or we're going to be repeating the same old patterns and going into, you know, much deeper darkness than we want to think about. So it's really, it is critical for us to learn how to allow ourselves to receive so that we can empower ourselves. And this is something that I've really been working on myself for a long time. And when I first had this idea to do a video about this, I was like, you know, I'm not in full integrity with this yet. I can't do a video on this because I don't have full integrity with this in my life. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to pull you in. But also I am starting to shift and move more in that direction. I feel like I have enough now to share that's in integrity. But back to that call to action, it is really important right now that we all step up and that we all learn how to receive and to allow ourselves to receive. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just getting a mental image right now of a little child just totally being open to being cared for and being loved and smiling and giggling and doing everything out of pure love to get its needs met and to be of service. And in the last year, I learned a different meaning behind the word deserve. And one of my coaches said it was a French word from the word of service. And I've been really working with that this year, or in the last 365 days, because it just has opened up so much for me of being of service. And I find that when I'm giving to others and doing it through a place of generosity and joy. I'll give you a good example. I've given to certain charities over the years, and they've asked for me to give again this year. And I thought, you know what? I don't feel at the place of reciprocity with this. And I'm not just going to give, you know, $1,000 or whatever because I did it before. I just don't feel that generous giving, but I'm going to be open to giving in other ways. And it was just interesting because I received inspiration from the public library back in early October of last year, a couple months ago. 2 books jumped off the shelf. One was on Carol Burnett, who had the Carol Burnett show when our parents were probably our age. And the other was another woman who created Miss Magazine, Gloria Steinem. And I listened to both of their bios in the car over the course of 2 weeks. And I wrote in my Google Calendar, I want to be more like these women. I want to have more theater in my life. I want to have finish my play. I finished a play that I started in 10th grade in May of like a couple months ago. And Gloria Steinem talked about traveling the world, having women's circles and talking about important issues that we're talking about right now. And I thought, if I could just be more like these 2 women, I would feel so blessed. And within a couple of weeks, I opened up an email to invite me to have an experience of a lifetime to go to China and teach leadership training and do an art project on the weekends, which paid for my plane ticket to go over to China through the US government grant called, I forgot how to turn this off. But anyway, I blocked all this other day from the call, but let's be in receiving mode that whatever they're selling on the other end of the line, that they get their needs generously met.
Well, you're bringing up something that you're not saying in words, but I'm going to say it is.
What's that?
That you showed up to receive.
I did. But it wasn't consciously, I want to go on this adventure that I didn't even know existed. I wrote in my calendar that I would like to be more like these women that have received what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And then I let the thought go. And then a couple of weeks later, I opened up an email. And this woman interviewed me 10 years ago for my book, You Can't Get It Because You Already Got It, co-authored with a friend of mine, Stash Seraphin, and client. And the subtitle is You Can't Get It Because You Already Got It, a visionary writer and a blind figure skater's inspirational guide to moving through life. And so, the tools have been there all along. And I could cite numerous examples from just having my husband be in sync with me, to people at work being in sync, to clients being in sync, to me being in sync with my own vision. But sometimes we don't realize that it's as simple as asking.
Yeah.
Paying attention to what shows up.
And that's what I mean by showing up. You got that email and you were like, oh, this is an opportunity. Let me
Not right away. It took me a couple of days to rewatch the videos and go, what is this? And yeah.
But you did, that's what I mean by showing up. You watched the videos, you took the time, you tuned in to see, is this for me? Is this what I want?
Mm-hmm.
You showed up. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think a lot of people haven't quite gotten to that point of showing up. Like, yeah, I want this thing. I would love this life. I want this experience. But then they can't bring themselves to show up for it. Mm. They stay at home, or they don't follow the nudge, or they don't follow the still small voice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the old joke of the floods are coming, and the very pious religious person sees the rowboat going by, and they go, "Oh no, God will save me."
Yeah.
And then more rowboats come and say, "Come in the boat, come in the boat." No, God will save me. And then a helicopter, when the person's on top of the roof, is like, no, God will save me. And then the person passes on and talks to someone on the pearly gates and is very upset, saying, "Hey, what the heck? I've been praying to you all along. What's going on? How come you didn't save me?" And the punchline is, "I sent you 2 rowboats and a helicopter."
Like, what more do you want?
What more do you want?
I would like to bring in something that I've experienced, because I think it is relevant to some degree to what people are experiencing unconsciously with receiving. Mm-hmm. So for the past 3 winters, I've gotten this inflammatory response in my body. And it's a long story, and I'm not going to go into the whole entire thing, but it has to do with receiving. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with that every time I've stepped into my power on this planet, I've been killed. And so there's a cellular trauma around receiving in my physical body. And so this inflammatory response would come up every time I'm moving into that place of being more in my power. Mm-hmm. And it took a long time to decode all of it. But I think it's something that happens for a lot of us to some level. When it comes to truly opening the floodgates and allowing ourselves to receive the things, the experiences, our own essence, our own power, more of who we are, that that cellular trauma is activated. And then we kind of shy away from it because we don't want to feel the trauma. We don't want to feel the pain, the stuff we've been through before. And so I'm just curious if you've had that experience, Ruth, or if you think that is something that people are going through unconsciously, where as soon as they start to receive something really that feels really big to them, that they then kind of push it away because of something running unconsciously in them.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done that throughout my life. I've met with a couple Hollywood producers of a screenplay. It was a story that appeared in my notebook in 2001, and it's due this year because my character's 100th birthday is this year, and the deadline is in August. And I'm thinking, all right, I've manifested all these wonderful things in my life, but and I've finished screenplays, and I've published books. Why is it so tough to share this Messiah character the age reversing grandmother. And part of the fear is getting killed.
Yeah.
Part of it is having that repeat feeling of we're not ready for female goddesses on the planet to be in their full power.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing a lot of praying around that. I'm doing a lot of journaling, doing a lot of spilling my guts in my daily emails around that. And, I've hired over $10,000 worth of mentors to help me produce this, to like birth this play, and I'm writing tons on everything else. And this story has been given to me so freely, and then I keep on adding these layers and say it needs to be rich and complex and combine stories. And so it's been interesting, all that energy related to kind of like a spiritual mentor in the form of a fictional character that's come to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's, there's, Netflix is a wealth of learning about what to eat, what not to eat, toxins in our planet, toxins in our world. And it's like, do I want to do another, as one of my coaches told me, a public service announcement? And I said, no, I want a funny comedy about this spiritual grandmother who just happened to inspire lots of people before social media really existed in the 80s. And now she's 20, 30 years older and is still a force of light and love in the world. And the more I have those, so I write things down and then I have those experiences myself, or I have those experiences and they end up in the story. And my husband's like, it's not a screenplay, it's not a story, it's a journal. And I say, I guess you're right. And all the subtle nuances of receiving and giving or flooded in the story, from her childhood friend that she reconnects with 60 years later, who's a billionaire. And they have this contest of her just setting the intention she wants something, and someone walks down the street and it's given to her. And he picks up the phone, which is another form of manifestation, and gets his people to get it for him. So what form of receiving giving is correct? Is it earning lots of money and using that as a conduit? Is it just having your basic needs met and then being in flow and synchronicity throughout the day?
Yeah, it could be any of those, all of those. And that brings me to something that I wanted to share about allowing the channels to show up. So what I mean by that is everyone and everything is a potential channel for us to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to allow that to come to us.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone offers us something,
mm-hmm.
and we're like, oh, I don't like that person, so I don't want to receive from them, that could be a way of us limiting ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, it could also be a discernment. Like, if I receive from this person, there may be strings attached, and I really don't want to get involved with that drama. And so I'm going to not use this channel for my receiving and allow the universe to bring me a different channel.
Mm.
And that kind of goes into a whole different other discussion that we could talk about. But I just wanted to bring it as a point of reference that we do need to have discernment also when we're receiving, because it's not just like people, especially here in Sedona. I don't know if it's where you live, Ruth, but people here like everything's love and light. And I'm generalizing. Not everyone here is like that. Everything's love and light, and just it's all good. We're all one. Unity, unity, unity. And the truth is that people have unresolved and unintegrated shadows. And if we're just receiving kind of blindly without discernment, it may not be healthy for us. It may not be in alignment for us. So we really need to cultivate that discernment also. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, one of the first things that popped up was a exercise that I do for myself and clients called the circle map. And inside the circle, you write your vision. And that could be emotions you want to feel in your ultimate vision. It could be conversations, it could be objects, it could be experiences or relationships. And then on the outside of the circle, write down all the things that you already have in your life that support the inside vision. And I've done this exercise multiple times with myself and other people, and things start showing up for us that sort of match the circle, but they don't have those same emotions. And then the disclaimer is, don't necessarily glom onto the first things that show up, have discernment and say, I need to be even more specific and clear of what to put in the center of the circle, because this doesn't feel like my full vision. And so
perfect.
I find out that people are very powerful manifestors. They just didn't realize that they could be very specific in how they want to feel and the relationships that they want to have around receiving. So I'm a huge component to what you're talking about, which is if it doesn't fit in the circle, then don't receive in that capacity, or be grateful that things are shifting and moving, and then, get more clear about what your vision is and make it even more powerful and specific.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. And I've talked a lot about healthy boundaries before in my other videos. So that's something that applies here. If it's not matching what you're aligned for from the place of your soul, for your soul mission, then maybe it's not the right fit, even though it might look good at first.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a lot of discernment that we need to cultivate and exercise when it comes to receiving.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, there's also the idea that when something shows up, even if it's may not be exactly how we envisioned, or it may not be the perfect energetic alignment, if we work with our energy and our powers of transmutation, maybe as it comes into our field, it can come into alignment for us. So there's a lot of little nuances to work with.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes it takes so long to figure this whole thing out. Right. Someone who's trying to manifest that same thing for 10 years and they're still working on it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of these nuances.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm thinking about my grandmother who passed on last year. And she passed on 22 years to the day of my grandfather. So that's pretty interesting. And that was a conscious choice for her. She decided, okay, I'm still semi-healthy, but I'm losing my hearing. I'm having trouble walking. I'm mostly in my room. So when she found out about the experience of voluntary stop eating and drinking, she powerfully chose to leave her body. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing because she's lived her whole life as a stubborn, independent, world traveling woman who's been to over 50 countries in her lifetime, and I'm catching up. I've been to 20. And and when she was raising my dad was a baby and he's in his late 60s, her mother and sister went on a vacation and they died in a fire. And she got a little bit of insurance money from that. And that has turned into enough money to outlive her and pass on to her 2 sons and grandchildren. And so 22 years ago, I got some money from my grandfather's inheritance. And it was right around the time that I was discovering scripting for success. I was visiting my mother in Florida when she moved from Philadelphia to Florida. And I remember it was a magical week because I picked up the book, Think and Grow Rich. I was 22 years old in 1997. And I also went to a theater exercise that planted the seeds for scripting for success that very week. So here I was learning about giving and receiving and setting intentions. And one of the exercises in Think and Grow Rich was write down how much money you want and when you want it and how you intend to receive it. So I wrote down, I intend to receive $20,000 by my birthday, which was a month away, through my writing. Well, lo and behold, my birthday came and went, but within a month, I received a check for $20,000, and it was the unexpected inheritance. Well, when I got the check, I also received it with a Yanni's cassette tape that I bought my grandmother. Or it was some kind of cassette tape I bought her. And it came with an angry note that said that I was not a very good granddaughter, that I didn't write her enough letters. And this was before email, and she lived in New Mexico and I lived in Philadelphia. And I ended up ripping up that $20,000 check and not receiving that money for a couple of years. And in that moment, it kind of set me on a journey around what giving and receiving is. And it's just very interesting how it's been very instrumental in working with clients, looking at all the ways that they've given so much in their lifetime. And I've created something called, it used to be called Debt into Abundance, but I've changed it to Asset Growth, because the average person that I work with, 50 and older, who's in transition and is looking for more, I guess, direction in the legacy in their life path, has given away somewhere between $200,000 and $500,000 of unpaid goods and services. Mm-hmm. And we look at that and we see that there's a lot of resentment, anger, frustration around all the gifts. It could be home care to their loved ones. It could be giving away free services to clients. It could be free room and board, or a debt, or a tax audit, or something where they feel their energy got drained from giving and that it wasn't paid or appreciated. So it's really blows my mind how quickly, once people, clients start adding up all the things that they gave and they realize, oh my God, it's, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. And when we change the story from I'm broke because I didn't get paid for those experiences to I'm a really wealthy philanthropist, I've given away over $100,000 worth of value, things start to really shift in conjunction with their success script, their stories that I help them write.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah. So it's just been really powerful in seeing how quickly that even if they forgive 2% of what they've given away, even if they go through 2% of forgiveness and say, you know what, they needed it more than I needed it, or I generously gave it rather than why didn't I get paid for that, things start to really shift in my life and in their life. And it's really incredible.
This is something that I see so many light workers do. By nature, we're givers.
Yes.
But because that's what we've come to this planet to do. Mm-hmm. And so we don't acknowledge how much we're giving. We don't even sometimes realize how much we're giving, especially if we're giving energetically and it's not a physical giving.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so people are in debt in terms of they've given so much and there's a deficit in their receiving. Like it's okay to give. It's okay to give. It's not okay to receive. This underlying belief system. Mm-hmm. It's rampant in the lightworker community. And I would really like to issue an invitation for us to change that. We need to start receiving And whatever's in the way of us receiving, we need to take that head on and really look at it and acknowledge it. Yeah, this is real. Whatever subconscious programming, whatever patterns I have running, whatever is in there subconsciously that I don't know about that's preventing me from allowing myself to receive, it's time to look at it so that we can shift this thing that's happening on the planet.
Yeah, and I also have a much bigger calling. I'm looking at all the leaders,
Yeah.
The 20 leader summit, or our presidents, our financial gurus, all these people around the world that run governments. Not to put a timestamp on this video, but we have a government shutdown, and that's a big giving and receiving issue.
Yeah.
But my mission, I would love to talk to each one of the congressional elected officials, each one of the senators, each one of the presidents, and even the dictators out there that have countries that are in debt mode. I would suggest you do our growth assessment, where you've looked at how much you've given to other countries. United States alone, we've given medical technology to other countries. We've given rock and roll and music and jazz. We've given the space program. We've given medicine. We've given trillions of dollars, way more than our national debt, to other countries and the people in our country. So if any one of you are listening during your shutdown break of this video and you're thinking, okay, when I return to Congress, do this exercise where you write down how much your state or your county or your family or your own person has given, and actually put a dollar amount, or if you're using other currency, put that amount, and look at, okay, I've given that. Was it from a place of love, transformation, or was it a political agenda? And we, as individual citizens, have political agendas. Why are we giving this? Is it so Susie invites me on her Facebook Live? Is it because I want to teach her members a lesson, or her community a lesson? No, we're giving this for specific reasons, and really tune in to what you've given, what you keep on giving, how it's served the community, how it hasn't served the community, and then make a choice of what story you're going to attach to that. Because we all know that the stories we attach to things aren't necessarily the real story, but if it's a negative story, it's just going to impede our growth. It's going to impede our forward motion.
This is so important.
Yeah. And when you said a couple minutes ago, I want to give an invitation about receiving, I see you shifting in more meditation mode. I was wondering if we could just get into meditation and do sort of a channeling of our higher selves around receiving, and really give an invitation right now for us to more consciously being in the receiving mode and in the healthy boundary mode.
Yeah. And I would invite those of you who are with us and those who are watching the replay just to open your hands like this, palms up, just an indication to the body that you're receiving. So you can't see me doing it, but I have my hands are open. So did you want to lead us in the meditation, Ruth?
Okay. I want to go back to the circle map. And inside is the title, Receiving. And inside the circle, you write all the things that you love to receive. Friendships, connections, awe-inspiring conversations, wonderful opportunities and projects, and being of service. More love and attention and intimacy. And when you write down those things, think about how they're already in your life, but you want more of that because you're a tuning fork for whatever you want to receive. And as you focus on it, more of those blessings show up in your life. And take a couple deep breaths from your belly up into your chest. And feel the spark of light inside your being. And it could be the same feeling of prayer or drinking a warm, hot beverage that you enjoy, or getting a warm hug or embrace. Or receiving something that you've really enjoyed. And feel that receiving in the form of a color or a rainbow of colors, or even pure white light. And have that color fill up your heart and expand throughout all your heart chakra, throat chakra, all the way up to your crown chakra and down to your root chakra and any other chakras you celebrate. And feel that color and light expand so much that it's pushing against your internal self. You might even get a mental image of this light eager to ooze out your pores. And your whole body is pulsing with this loving, powerful, self-supportive energy. And it actually does start spilling out of your pores, out into the room, filling any dark crevice of your space that you're right now, filling up the building that you're in, or the park that you're in, or wherever you're watching this. And this loving light coming from your heart expands out past your community, out past your state. It spreads like butter across the country, or olive oil, or pure liquid light, all across your mental map from coast to coast, continent to continent, all across the oceans and the other continents. And now you're feeling so connected to the whole world, where you have instant connection, not only through social media, but through your heart. And really acknowledge the access you have to the world. And notice tiny little blue dots around the planet, and those are your points of connection. Maybe people you know, people you don't know, animals you know, animals you don't know, trees you know, trees you don't know. And you feel and see that blue light pulsing. Now imagine or see or feel threads of golden light, like those telecommunication commercials, starting from your heart and like a spider web or a network connecting all those blue dots. And this is your opportunity in this very moment to send empowerment or love. For me, the color of empowerment is emerald green some days, and love is pink and red and golden light. And just feel that pulsing with every breath. Now, you may not know this, but you're on loudspeaker across the world, and you can give anything you want to millions of people in this moment. But remember, whatever you give, it comes back a million-fold, conservatively speaking. So just send out love, send out abundance, send out gratitude, Send out appreciation and feel that pulsing back into your heart in this very moment. And know that we can go much deeper with this, with a script or a circle map, and really focus on specific things we want to give and receive with the world. But right now, we're giving empowerment, love, and gratitude. And put your hand on your heart if you feel moved, and anchor that energy, which is generated from you, as you feel so much warmth, so much gratitude, pulsing back and forth around those golden threads around the planet. And let's just sit with that for a couple moments while I'm quiet. And if there's a specific person you don't feel like giving or receiving from, imagine a pink waterfall of love and light between you. And if there's any gratitude you want to express, do that within.
I'm also going to invite you, if you have any either conscious or unconscious story about it's hard, life is hard, manifesting is hard, giving is hard, receiving is hard. If you have that belief system or that story, I'm just going to invite you to offer that up so that you can let that go, surrender that story, let it dissolve, transmute it into love. And as we sit in this sacred container of the love flowing, allow that it's hard story just to flow out of your reality, flow out of your cellular matrix. Let it go from your being. Let it be easy, let it be flowing, let it be aligned.
And if you need assistance with that, just think of times that were easy, times where you felt love, and pulse that back across the network. Because you're on loudspeaker right now, your heart is broadcasting to the world right now. So,
And since we're on loudspeaker, wherever you are right now, if it's possible for you to say aloud, I am worthy. I am worthy of receiving my highest alignments. I am worthy of receiving my highest alignments. I am worthy of receiving my highest alignments. Everybody just heard that. How does it feel to be worthy of receiving your highest alignments?
and as an added bonus, since people are feeling your wonderful blessings you're sending out, just say to yourself or out loud how people can get in touch with you. So for me, I'm Ruthanne Wood, Ann with an E, at scriptingforsuccess.com. And I'm here to help you connect with giving and receiving, and in partnership with wonderful people like Susie Beiler.
And so when you come out of the meditative state, feel free to put that in the comments below this video.
If you want to share who you are and how you want to connect, how people can connect with you, send it out during your meditation right now, and how you can be of service. And now we're going to feel one more pulsing of empowerment and generosity and gratitude. We feel it coming back in an unfathomable amount of love and energy back at us. And we'll bring that love and light blanket across the planet, across the continents, across the oceans, across the country that we're in now, across the states and provinces, across the cities and communities, down the street or path, back into the building that we're sitting in, back into the room or space that we reside, coming back into our body, pouring back into our heart. Shutting that portal for now, but knowing it could be accessed at any moment. And that we can send letters in the future to loved ones and they'll specifically respond. Or people that are challenging, or people we want jobs from, or want to give offerings to. And open your eyes and notice if there's a primary color, a yellow, red, blue. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. And we're back.
Thank you so much, Ruthanne. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was beautiful. We're going to recap everything that we've covered so far in just a second, because I know with live streams, not everyone joins at the beginning. So before we do that, though, I do want to offer a special invitation to come to Sedona, Arizona, April 11th through the 14th. We'll be doing our Codes of Creation retreat here, and it's going to be amazing with the energy here that's so amplified because of the quartz crystal that we live on here, and all of the codes of creation that I've shared with you back in the summer and the fall, and all the codes of creation that I'll be sharing with you. We're going to really dive deep into that so that you can remember who you are as a powerful creator. So join us April 11th through the 14th, and you can register at creationtemple.com/retreat. So I've just been blessed to have Ruthanne with us today, and we're going to just kind of recap everything we've talked about so far about generous receiving. There's I don't know if I call it a formula, but there are components of generous receiving that we need to make sure we have covered if we want to be a generous receiver. So knowing that you're worthy, knowing that you're valuable, and everything you've given, knowing that that has value and worth, as Ruthanne mentioned. And you can even put a price tag on that and say, in the past 20 years, all these things that I've done, all these things that I've given, that's $1 million right there, easy. Put a price. I love your process with that. Put a price tag on all of the things you've given, whether it's been something tangible or something energetic that only you know about. It's still valuable and worth it if only you know about it. Say yes to what you want and no thank you to what you don't want. It's okay to put healthy boundaries around what you don't want. It's okay to be discerning about your receiving, from whom you receive, from where you receive, what kinds of things you're receiving. Are they in alignment with your soul mission? Exercise discernment. Let go of the story that it's hard, that has been a huge one for me because you know what? I'm kind of proud of how hard I've worked in my life. I have, and I really have to let that go because it doesn't have to be hard. Bringing gratitude. Bringing gratitude for everything, the things that felt good, the things that didn't feel good, the things that made you stronger, even though they were excruciating to go through. Bringing gratitude for all of life's experiences and all that life brings to you. Balance, knowing that there is a balance in giving and receiving, and we want to keep the flow and the circulation going, and we want to expand the circulation. And you can't expand the circulation if you're not receiving. That's part of the equation. The giving and receiving, two sides of the same coin. You have to have both in order for the circulation and the flow to keep going. And then seeing everything as a potential channel through which you might receive. And again, using the discernment, but knowing that the people around you, your environment, the situations, the circumstances that are in your life, they're all channels through which you can receive. And so recognize that. And don't be attached. Like, well, this channel's been giving me $100 a month for 10 years because they've been a loyal client. Maybe they're complete with the work and then they go away. Don't be attached to the channel itself, but allow yourself to receive from all kinds of channels. So that's all I have, Ruth. Is there anything that you want to say to wrap things up?
Just find ways to be appreciative and to be aware of the abundance in your life. If it's journaling, if it's talking to a friend or a mentor, if it's teaching someone else about your experience or sharing, these are all ways to acknowledge what's going on in your life and how you are such a powerful channel.
Beautiful. Love it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate your presence here with us today. And I'll see you in the next video. Much love. Mwah.